What exactly is Emperor Belos' plan? Now, fair warning, I don't know when this video is going to go up. It's probably going to go up after Hollow Minds is released, which means some of the details in this might be outdated by the time it goes up. But I think the general gist of it will still be valid, because I don't think Hollow Minds is going to reveal more than just like the concrete evidence that Philip and Belos are the same person, like the indisputable proof. And I think it's probably going to also show Hunter and Luce that they're the same person too, so that Luce knows that Philip and Belos are the same person from this point forward, and Hunter knows that his uncle is/was human. Because for those who don't know, and you probably do, because again, the episode's probably out by now, Hollow Mind looks like it's going to go inside Belos' head. We're going to go inside Belos' head and follow Luce and Hunter as they explore his memories. Maybe we'll even see why he, as Philip, because he's definitely Philip, didn't know where his journal was and didn't know how to recreate the door. Maybe some of his memories have been burned the same way that Willow's were way back when. Maybe Luce and Hunter will even accidentally start to restore some of his memories and change the person he is somehow or something. But that's a theory for another day that I'm probably never going to make because there's not enough to it. That's basically the whole thing right there. Point is, I and a lot of others have been trying really hard to get our heads wrapped around what the Day of Unity might be and what it might be for, since it seems like we're going to learn about it pretty soon. Any theorist worth his salt, which I hadn't been for quite a while, I don't know how much longer this manic theory kick of mine is going to last, but I'm really enjoying it. But any theorist worth his salt is going to be wanting to try to work this out before we see it realized in the show. And I think I've got a pretty good idea of what it is. In fact, the reveal that we got in Them's the Breaks Kid, that the Day of Unity spell is a draining spell, just sort of reinforced what I've been thinking. And I'm not the only one who's thinking kind of the bare bones of this. I even saw a post on Tumblr just earlier today that followed basically the same trail of evidence that I'm going to lay out for you here. It just reached a slightly different conclusion. A very similar overlapping conclusion, but one that's different enough that I feel like my thoughts on this are still worth getting out there. What I think it all comes down to is the fact that Belos, as Philip, even as a Grimwalker, because we know that, like, we assume he's a Grimwalker of some kind, right? But Hunter also seems to be a Grimwalker, but that didn't give him magic. He's still human in that he doesn't have the natural ability to cast magic. So Belos wouldn't either, which means the magic that he uses still comes from other sources. And since we don't see him using glyph magic, we don't see him drawing glyphs, we have to assume that he gets his magic from somewhere else now. His staff, probably. As well as his weird body manipulation stuff. I think that's a different kind of magic that comes from the Titan, similar to how glyph magic does. And that he uses that now as a faster way of casting magic without having to poison his body with more glyphs. That also makes it look like he has a connection to the Titan and might know what the Titan is thinking. I've talked about this before. So magic technology and this weird flesh magic that we've seen something similar to elsewhere in the tower where King was born. That guardian creature seemed to be fueled by that same magic. And I think that's why that clan of people was wiped out. They seem to be in hiding now, and I think I know why. I think Philip stole their magic from them, which seems to line up pretty well with a draining spell. Because while I do think that categorizing all of the witches he can into covens and then binding them to the coven heads to act as a focus for all of those people so that he doesn't have to go and drain them all at once, I think that's a pretty efficient way to drain all of their magic to fuel a big spell. But I think it has a secondary side effect. I do think that he plans on draining their magic to fuel the spell that's going to unify the Boiling Isles with Earth. But I also think it's going to literally drain their magic. I think it's going to do basically what was done to Ida, to everyone. And that they're all going to lose their magic. Meaning that the only people with magic will be people who draw it from other sources. Either Belos' Magitech, or that connection to the Titan through either flesh magic or glyphs. And that Tumblr post, let's use it as an example since it's fresh on my mind. It asserted that Philip, as a colonialist, would, and like we know this for a fact, we saw it, he thinks himself above witches. He thinks them savages and wants what they have for himself. That's an obvious part of his character. And so that Tumblr post and some of the other theories, some of the other versions of this theory that I've seen bouncing around, seem to think that what he intends to do is either transfer all of the magic that he has left over from casting the Day of Unity spell to humanity, or else, once the Titan and Earth are the same, give glyphs to humanity so that they have magic and witches don't. But I don't think that's the case. I think it goes deeper than that. I really do think that at the end of the day, Philip's primary motivation is still that he just wants to go home. But if that's the case, why would he need to move the Titan there? Well, I think it's because the Grimwalker magic is that same flesh magic. Or at least something very similar to it. That it binds him together. And if that magic does come from the Titan, like I've theorized, can it exist on Earth? We know that glyph magic can't. Glyphs, when used on Earth, just crumble to dust. Like, yeah, I would imagine Philip's Magitech might still work on Earth the same way that Biosac magic does, but if Philip is literally made from magic that's bound to the Titan, I don't think he could exist on Earth without taking the Titan to Earth. So I think that's what his plan is. I think he wants to go home and actually be able to survive there. Because, like, think about it. If Philip is an old-school colonialist, and we know for a fact that he is, so there's no if about it, then there's kinds of humans that he's not going to want to have magic power to, right? That he thinks himself above too, right? So why would he just dole out magic to all of humanity like some people seem to be suggesting that he might? When we know he's going to hate some humans too. Wouldn't he want to handle that on a case-by-case basis, for lack of a better term? To judge people on a case-by-case basis? Like, he didn't even give glyph magic or weird flesh powers to Hunter. He just gave him the Magitech stuff that can be taken away. Right? He's that controlling. So while that may be part of his plan, I don't think it's a main part of it. I think he intends to just be the only person with magic so that he can decide who's worthy and who's not. Because, like, yeah, there are going to be some wild witches out there who can still practice magic because they weren't bound to a coven, at least theoretically, but he's made sure that there aren't many. And the few that he seems to know about, he's not concerned with. So obviously he has plans in motion to hunt them down once this is all over, or shortly before. So I don't think he would mind a few scragglers here and there, but at the very least he does seem like he wants complete control over all of this. And even if it isn't the weird flesh powers that he's displayed that are bound to the Titan and therefore he needs them back on Earth to survive, we do know that he pumped his body full of glyphs. Maybe those glyphs are in some way holding him together, and those glyphs will go away without the Titan. There's a couple different angles that this could work from. It could also just be something as simple as he doesn't want to lose his power. He wants to still be this powerful after he's gotten home, and so he has to bring the Titan with him for that reason. But I do think it comes down to him just wanting to go home, and he needs the door so that he can focus the spell through and bind Earth and the Boiling Isles together and then pull them together. But that just... Why would he need Hunter, though? That's the only question this really leaves. And I could think of a few different possibilities. First of all, maybe this is a spell that he devised back when it was him and his brother running around doing stuff together before they had whatever falling out that they did. Because they clearly had some kind of falling out. It's even possible that his brother went home, because we see that there's like the Golden Guard sigil. The Golden Guard being the role that Hunter has taken up now, is it's on like the sign for the town back on Earth. It's more than just the statue of the two brothers that connects the two worlds together. Either the Golden Guard sigil was brought over from the Boiling Isles back to Earth at some point and used as a sigil for the town, or else the sigil for the town was used by the Golden Guard as a sigil. It's a detail that I didn't even see, and I was tickled when somebody pointed it out to me. So I do think that whoever started the the Golden Guard thing was in some way related to Belos' brother. And I do think that they had a falling out, and he's trying to recreate the bond they had by making Hunter. And that it could be as simple as that. It could be as simple as that. He just wants his brother back. Or it's also possible, because this is a magical process. It's not like it's a purely genetic cloning or something. It's a magical process. So if you make a Grimwalker from someone or of someone, it's possible that something of that person comes with it, even if that person doesn't specifically transfer into the new body. And maybe there's something that his brother knew, or something that his brother was capable of doing that he wasn't, that Belos now has need of. And he's hoping that Hunter will unlock those memories. In fact, jumping in to record a little bit more after having seen Hollow Mind, I can say for absolute certainty at this point that he likely doesn't even need Hunter for anything. It's just a ruse to keep him in line. Like, he as much says so. It's possible that he's not being accurate, but he as much says so in the episode. He just keeps recreating his brother in the hopes that one day an instance of his brother will agree with him. And also because he seemingly killed his brother the first time and kind of likes killing him again and again, which is super dark. Also, the draining spell will apparently just flat out kill the witches that it affects, so we can't let this go off. That'd be real bad. But none of this really changes my thoughts on the rest of his motivations. I really still think that his main intention is to return home. And that the Day of Unity spell, the spell that he's going to fuel with all of that stored magic, is somehow required for him to do that. But the rest of it, organizing everybody into big piles that you can sap all at once very easily, so that they're depowered and you're just stronger than ever, that makes sense. Using that power then to merge the two dimensions so that you can bring your power with you back to your home, that makes sense. It all makes sense. All of that said, though, guys, what do you think of any of the ideas that I put forth in this theory video? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, and while you're down there, you might as well like the video, share it with anyone else who you think would enjoy my content, subscribe if you haven't. You can also check out links to my various social medias, as well as the many ways you can help out the channel. Those will be in the video description, but either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.